heart attack. Fast, fatal, hard impact. Past painful scars, in fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new submerged juice. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do begin, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, quite a number of things have happened. Now, in the last part, we had Deku and the girls, who took down the hero committee. Now, it has been 6 months since the committee was murdered, and right now the heroes, they're concerned about quite a lot of things. Right now, every pro hero at the moment is classified as a vigilante. The reason for this is because of the destruction that has been caused by Deku and the girls. They destroyed the entire committee, and in the process, they've destroyed certain records, certain files, certain things that heroes, they need to be classified as heroes. And while they do technically have their hero licenses, there's an issue with that. All these are issued by the old committee, and people want to do away with them. People want to try and create a new committee that will not make these past mistakes. And right now, Nezu and All Might, they're trying to do this. But along with that, the Meta Liberation Army, they're trying to come in and try and be the new committee. Try to be the new establishment that monitors and regulates pros. But that's an issue. Nezu and All Might, they're trying to follow the old ways. But the Meta Liberation Army, they're trying to do a new way of doing things. But there's an issue. The Meta Liberation Army wants people to be free and able to use their quirks. But the heroes, or Nezu, he wants to keep things the way they always have been. Changing the status quo would be bad, especially at the moment. Right now, the villains, they're at large and they are dangerous. And corrupt pro heroes are starting to pop up everywhere. People are seeing it now. The rise of vigilantes and the rise of crime with All Might's retirement. It is happening. And villains, they're getting worse. Now, with all that being said, there currently is things with Shigaraki. Shigaraki and the League of Villains, they have been very active. They have had to be. With 3 of their members in, well, bad shape, basically 2 dead and 1 in prison, they have been trying to recruit and try to branch out more. Now, thanks to all of this, Shigaraki has been forced to step up. He was being trained by Kirigiri, up until Kirigiri was put in jail, and then he was almost totally on his own with Twice and a few other villains. He had to step up. His one goal was to serve his master. And then, a lot of things popped up. A lot of things happened. He had to step into the role of a leader. But that was harder to do. That wasn't easy. He wanted to destroy society. Show society exactly how bad the Hero Association is. And somebody already did that. Somebody already did what he wanted to do. He wanted to shake the establishment, but somebody already did that. And then, there's currently things with the heroes. Right now, he knows that his master has failed to destroy All Might. And All Might has retired. But there was that guy with All Might, Mirio. Mirio Togeda, right? He's All Might's successor. He knows it. So, right now he has a hit list. And at the top of it is All Might's successor, and then he wants to kill Izuku Midoriya. Now, with all that being said, there actually currently is a war with Mirio. Mirio, currently, he is training. And right now he is trying to get a better handle on One for All. This power has been good. He's been making good use of it. And he actually is intrigued. All Might, apparently gave this power to somebody else. But then that person, they gave it to him because they wanted to stop being a pro. I mean, he gets it, but the person couldn't handle the stress, the pressure, being All Might's successor. I mean, he gets that he has a lot of pressure on his hands, but he'll save people. He'll stay to his promise. He will be Lemillion. He will make sure he can save 1,000,000 people. At least. But people, they need that right now, don't they? Heroes. But the committee. Jesus. After everything they did, everything that he saw, people don't fear Izuku Midoriya. Some people actually like what he did. But, I mean, he can't support his actions, can he? His childhood was rough, but that was because of his quirk in trying to control it. But he's never had to kill a man, let alone watch it so young. That guy had his life taken by the committee, so he took their lives. He sees why Deku's mad, but at the same time, Deku considers himself to be a hero, right? So, if they get him involved, would he be willing to help form a committee? I mean, he exposed their corruption. So, would people trust him? Now, that currently is on Mirio's mind, as right now somebody does come walking into the room and ask him if he's done with his workout. Him actually going to somewhat place down the heavy weight carefully, as he does go to directly walk over and grab onto a towel, before somewhat wiping his head and drinking some water, looking over towards the woman and telling them that he actually is still doing it a bit. He's just trying to get a better handle on his quirk. Really? Okay, fine. But please hurry up. A lot of people are talking. There's been an incident. An incident? Yes. Okay, I don't know exactly what's going on, but it looks bad. It's suspected that the Meta Liberation Army, they're involved. And it's also suspected that the League of Villains, they might have been found. They captured the portal guy months ago, and right now we think that we may have found the doctor that Kirigiri talked about. But other than that, we're still looking. Okay? So get things ready soon, and I'll have your prototype ready, okay? Right. The gauntlets, are they in my suit, or... The gauntlets will be built in, okay? But they're on bracelets right now. Okay, Mirio? Right. Thanks, Melissa. Her turning and walking away. And Mirio, he's trying to understand. An incident? The Meta Liberation Army and the League of Villains. They're encountering each other. That can't be good. Now, while that is currently happening, there currently is Mirio's thought process. And while Mirio, he is trying to think about what may have happened, there actually is over Deku. Deku? Currently, he actually is a bit worried. He's looked into a few things, and even the media, they've talked about this supposed incident. The incident involves a large fight suspected to be from the League of Villains and the Meta Liberation Army. However, that is just the thing. A city was found devastated by this attack, and many people suspect it could have been an earthquake quirk. Maybe something that could completely shift tectonic plates. The destruction seems so widespread, so devastating. The power behind it, it's never been seen before. And while that's all happening, we do currently have over with Shigaraki again. Shigaraki has reawakened, and right now, he is undergoing some test. He is going to try to become better, more powerful than All for One. Right now, he wants to gain this power. If his successor, or predecessor, All for One, could not be All Might, then he could not be All Might's successor himself. All Might's power was passed down, and therefore it got stronger. So, what he needs to do is gain and amass more power. More power than what that brat at the USJ could ever achieve. But then again, there's also a problem with that. That kid, his power is to absorb powers, isn't it? So, what happens if he absorbs too much? There is a theory there forming, a plan. And Shigaraki, he likes where he's going with it. And the doctor, he was an immense help here. Right now the plan's quite simple. Give the kid exactly what he wants. Power. Too much of it. See how he reacts. See what happens, really. Find out how much power that kid could really absorb. If it's too much, then too bad. He'll have to deal with it. Or what will happen to him? Burst at the seams? Melt apart? Turn into goo? Who knows? It could just be another calamity. Now, currently Shigaraki, he is undergoing a transformation. And he wants things to go good. And while that is currently happening, the Paranormal Liberation Army, they are gearing up. And they start their own attack. Now, Japan is suddenly thrust into a war between heroes and villains. And vigilantes, right now, they are caught in the middle of it. The people who want to try and do good, they find themselves in a spot. And people, the first few days of the war didn't seem right. All of a sudden, the Paranormal Liberation Army, people were either shifting away from the army, or they were trying to help heroes. And people from the army, they were just going on the attack. People who were seen as villains just started going apeshit. People who had powers were attacking other people for no reason. People didn't understand what to do, or what was going on. However, whenever the incident said that this was everywhere, a lot of people discovered something. This is a sign. A sign war has been declared. And heroes and emergency services, they are immediately overwhelmed by the situation. They were not equipped to respond to anything like this. And right now, Deku, whenever the war breaks out, he has to get the people he cares about out of here. And he did so. While everybody they were going around in chaos, there actually was currently Deku, who after he got into his car, and him and the girls got Eri out of there, they were putting their bags in the trunk. A few people come running over. And right now Deku, he does look towards them, as he immediately does turn back to the trunk and go to Doki grab out a weapon. Deku pulling out a weapon, and going to Doki pull back the slide on the weapon. Deku turning and pointing the weapon towards everybody else. A few of the people surprised that Deku just pulled a rifle out of a trunk. And Deku just told many of them to all get the fuck away from this car. Now, whenever people do stare at Deku, they don't really think much of it. There's no way he's actually going to. Deku is squeezing the trigger. And right now, shooting an entire clip into a group of villains. People who want to try and attack. And Deku does actually hear Mizuki shout something as people were rushing towards her. And Deku, the moment he does see that, he does immediately go to somewhat turn and bring his hands outwards. Him clapping them as hard as he can. And people, they could feel the shockwave come off of his hands touching together at that rate. Now, the ground shook, and many people around him, they stared at him. And Deku shouted at many of them to get the hell out of his way. Now, nobody really thought much of Deku. However, Deku, he just did one thing. He brought his hands down onto the ground and immediately created a wall of ice, encasing many villains in it as a lot of people stared at him. Before Deku turned and brought his hand up, telling them all to leave. Now, many people stared at him, and it took them a minute to realize something. This guy just used super strength, and then he used an ice quirk. And no way. Someone's shouting out, he's a Zuko Midoriya. Now, a lot of people after hearing that, they do look directly at Deku. And Deku, he is actually going to bring his hands up and go to tell them all. He actually is a Zuku. So, if any of them want to actually die here today, try and get the car. Try and hurt the people he cares about. Now, a lot of people, they stood there. And currently Deku, he actually started taking steps backwards towards the vehicle. And a lot of people, they didn't know what to say or do. This guy, he has powers, but he's afraid of them? Now, Deku opened the car door. Him turning around, as right now after he did pull out the key, somebody comes rushing towards the car. Deku immediately pulling the door closed and turning on the vehicle. As he does so, he puts the car in first gear and drives. Now, the moment that does actually happen, the girls, they are asking what the hell is happening. Because the city, it is starting to erupt into chaos and flames. And Deku just tries to tell many of them, as they're currently driving down the street as fast as they can, that he's not exactly too sure. What? What do you mean? Listen, whatever's going on, it's bad. We need to stay together right now. Whatever's happening, it can't be a coincidence. Cell service is starting to go down. Hero Association... Fuck. The Meta Liberation Army must have made their move, right? That makes sense. Eri, calm down. Now, Deku look in the rearview mirror. Him looking up towards Eri before trying to say out loud. Eri just needs to stay calm. Right now what's happening is bad, yes. But as long as they all do stay together, they'll be okay. Now, Eri, she actually is someone going to open her eyes. As right now Deku, he does look back towards the road, and there actually is a barricade. And a lot of people are standing there with their hands up with quirks. Many firing directly at the vehicle. As Deku, he does one simple thing. He drops another gear and speeds up, pedal to the metal. And the people, when they saw that car around the corner, damn, it was a nice piece of equipment. And they want it. So, what they're gonna do is blast at it and hope that the driver gets their message. Hey, broken glass in the seats, that can be wiped away. But the wind in your hair and that beauty, you'll always remember that. Now, whenever the car sped up and they shot at it, many of them were surprised. Bullets were flying off of that thing. And the glass? No way. Now, somebody immediately does bring their hand up. Them stepping forwards and trying to blast out flames. As right now Deku does rush at them, and the person they do see what's happening. They blast out flames at the car. And the car just keeps coming at them, before smashing directly into them and directly through the barricade. And everybody does watch. Deku, he does smash directly into the barricade and start pulling or pushing the car directly through. And everybody do see it. That car punches through, and everybody inside, they actually felt the recoil. Them actually went lunging and moving forwards, as Deku, he does go to put the car in reverse and reverse backwards. Him then pushing it back into drive, and then driving around the vehicle in a small opening he can find. Now, the side of the vehicle does scrape against certain cars and walls, but really, this thing is reinforced. So all it really does is scratch the paint. A real tragedy indeed. Now, Deku, he does actually continue driving. And right now there actually is where everybody, they do get outside the city. Civilians are trying to regroup, trying to get to places that are safe and places they know they'll be okay at. And right now, currently, Deku, he got outside the city. He knew things wouldn't be safe for a minute, and that he had to go in and help. But right now, if he leaves, things will go bad. People will be hurt. People he cares about might be involved. But he got them out of here safely. Everyone he cares about is currently in his car. And Deku, he does stare out to the city, as right now, Eri, she's lying down in the back seat. She is trying to sleep. And Deku, he actually does look over towards Mizuki and Ochako. The two just somewhat sitting on the hood. As Deku, he currently does somewhat going to turn his head and look down, looking into the back of the car to see that Eri is asleep. She's calmed down. Now, they do actually hear Deku mutter that. Before Deku does look over towards them, and they do somewhat go to look back towards the fire, asking Deku what he thinks happened in there. It started. It happened. Whatever's going on, we can't stop it. Yes, we can. I get that. But right now, this was bound to happen. The committee, the villains, the Meta Liberation Army, we should be happy it didn't happen sooner. Looks like they were finally getting things in order. You think so? Yeah. A large group of people we didn't deem to be terrorists now tearing up the entire country. Maybe you guys were right. Maybe we should have gotten out here sooner. This is all my fault. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. Listen, if I got you guys out of here, we wouldn't have had to run, have had to fight. I get... Now, the girls can tell that Deku gets frustrated. And right now Deku, he does just sit there, looking out towards the city. The sirens, he knows they're blaring. He knows that there are people screaming for help. And yet, he can just stand here. That's all he has on his mind. Right now, there's tons of villains out there, hurting people, harming people. But right now, Deku, he isn't too sure what to do. Right now, he wants to get them out of here. If shit like this is about to happen, an entire war, people are gonna die. And that means even people close to him. Now, currently while that is all happening over Deku, he wants to get Eri out of Japan. And while Deku wants to get someone out of Japan, there currently is somebody who wants to get people out of prison. Now, there currently is the Doctor. The Doctor is working on Shigaraki. The Doctor is trying to get Shigaraki prepared. Shigaraki, he needs to be improved. He needs to go beyond the limit of the human body. Shigaraki, he needs to kill All Might's successor and be prepared for Izuku Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya, in theory, might be just as powerful as All For One, or even more powerful. Deku, he can copy an opponent's powers, but he can't take that ability. And that is exactly where things are. Izuku Midoriya's powers are good, but he can't take a quirk. So, in theory, if his quirk is taken, then he is, in a way, limited. But then there's also another thing. What if they're able to, let's just throw this out there, overpower his body, push him past what he can do? They looked at his medical record. They know the limit of his power. There has to be one. They've seen these cases before. They've been around for a very long time. So, right now, what the good doctor is going to do is he is going to send over a large task force of Nomu. He wants them to help, cause more chaos, break into prisons, and release villains. And right now, Gigantomachia, he has been sent somewhere to get someone out. He is being sent towards a very specific prison. Now, with that being said, the good doctor, he gets prepared. Because right now, whenever Kiradiri comes back, their plans will be in full effect. Hero Society will truly fall, and the rule of All For One will come back. And right now the doctor, he does stare at the test tube, as Shigaraki does sit there, him going through a metamorphosis. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day, and the war has started.